All right, guys, for number 5, what we want to do on number 5 is to write the explicit formula. Okay. Make sure you write this down in your notes or have it on the thing, because your explicit formula, here's the explicit formula right here. This is the geometric. This would be the arithmetic. All right. So please make sure you have these written down. A sub n, remember, A sub n is just the term that I want. Right? So the term I want, right? So if we're looking for the 90th term, that's what A sub n would be. Okay, but we always leave this, just leave it on this problem. Okay, we won't change this. A1 would be the first term. R is the common ratio. To get the common ratio, I'm going to write it over here on the side so you guys have it. To get the common ratio, all you're going to do is take the second term divided by the first. Okay, that's it. And that will give you your common ratio. And then n, remember, is the number term I want, the term number. For this problem, we're going to leave it. Okay, so the n's, anything with an n in it, we're going to leave. Okay, and so we would use this formula if it's geometric. Remember, geometric is multiplying to get to the next term. Okay, arithmetic is adding. It's the exact same thing. This would be the term number that I want. We're going to leave. So we're going to ignore this. A1 is still the same thing. It doesn't change. It's the first term. But now D, instead of being the common ratio, is going to be the common difference. And to do that, that would be A2 minus A1. Why is it minus? Because we're doing the opposite, adding or subtracting here, okay? And then the n stays the same. It's the term number that I want, and then minus 1. So this piece, the n minus 1 piece will stay the same. That piece will stay the same. Okay, so I'm just finding the explicit formula. So the hardest part, guys, is determining, is it geometric or is it arithmetic? Okay, so I'll take a look at the first two. We'll look at A. So first of all, we got to decide, is this arithmetic or geometric? So I'm going to look. The big giveaway is, you see how the signs are changing? We're going from a negative to a positive, back to a negative. This tells me that this has to be geometric. Okay? Arithmetic cannot change signs. We can change signs, so you can go from -2 to +3, but we can't go back. Okay, and so if you take a look here, we go from a negative to a positive, back to a negative. Okay, so we can go from a negative to a positive for arithmetic, but not when I go back from a negative to a positive, back to a negative. Okay, it's impossible. So we know this has to be geometric. Okay, so a couple of things. This is real simple. This will be A1. Right? It's the first term, so I know I'm going to write my equation for A as A sub n. That doesn't change. A1 now gets replaced, so this becomes A1. So A1 is now -5. Make sure you include it. We'll put it in parentheses. I got to find R. Okay? Understand that R is just a common ratio. It's just what I multiply by. So how do I go from -5 to 15? How do I go from 15 to -45? Well, to go from 15 to 5 to -15. So sorry, to go from -5 to 15, I'm multiplying by 3, but wait a second, it's a negative to a positive, so I'm multiplying by -3. So the common ratio here would be -3. If you don't like that, I'm telling you, it is so easy. Just use this formula here. So the common ratio would be A2 divided by A1. Well, A2 is the second term, so that's going to be 15 divided by -5. Well, 15 divided by -5 is -3. Boom. So that's where our A1 comes in. The R, this is how I got R. And then remember, all we're going to do is leave this as n minus 1. And then that is my explicit formula for A. Okay. To do B, same thing. We're just looking. I'm going to look, hey, do I know how to go from -7 to 2 by multiplying? Okay, no. But I can try this, and don't look here first because sometimes it does get a little bit funky. I would try this one. This one's easier. I know how to go from 3 to 8. 3 plus 5 has to give me 8. So now let's try that. Well, let's go from -2, -2 plus 5. Is -2 plus 5 3? Yep. So what about -7 to -2? Is that plus 5 as well? Yeah. So obviously this is arithmetic. So now I know that I'm using this formula here. So I'm going to now just start plugging in what I know. I get A sub n equals A1. Oh, A1's easy. It's the first term. Make sure you keep that negative. plus D, well, we know what D is. D is the common difference. It's a number that I keep adding over and over again. So that's going to be 5. If you don't know that, remember we have a formula right here that we could use. We could have went A2 minus A1. Well, A2 is -2 minus a -7. Now I know, please pay attention. It's minus and then put that in parentheses because the double negative becomes a positive. So -2 plus 7 is 5. Okay. And then we're just going to keep this n minus 1. That's it. That's all we're doing. So make sure you remember this, how to get these. Okay. The common difference is what do I keep adding over and over again? Common ratio is what do I keep multiplying?